Imagine a tank heavier than a tiger and a king tiger combined. A tank that was supposed to be an invincible killer of anything that moved. German engineers believed in it until the very last days of the war. Except, it didn't even survive its first test. Why did the E100 turn out to be not a weapon of victory, but a symbol of collapse? Let's break it down piece by piece, and you'll be amazed at just how catastrophic the whole idea really was. 1943. The Wehrmacht realizes betting on Tigers isn't paying off. They need a tank that can withstand hits from Soviet 122mm and 152mm guns and punch through any armor in return. That's when the concept of the super heavy E100 lands on the table. 100 tons, frontal armor up to 240mm, a 128mm or even 150mm gun. For comparison, the famous Mouse weighed 188 tons and was an even crazier project. The E100 seemed like a reasonable compromise, but the devil, as always, was in the details, and the first of those details was the suspension. Yes, the ordinary running gear. Sounds boring? Hold on. This is exactly where the road to nowhere began. To understand the problem, let's look at the E100's suspension. On the surface, it's a typical German torsion bar design. But here's the catch. 100 tons was simply too much for that kind of chassis. For comparison, the King Tiger, at 70 tons, was already breaking road wheels and tracks every 100 to 150 kilometers. Now imagine a load almost 1.5 times higher. The engineers tried to reinforce the road wheels, making them all steel without rubber rims. But rubber isn't about comfort. It absorbs vibrations. Without it, every shot and every bump sent the shock straight into the torsion bars. The result? Even on the factory testing ground, the suspension started falling apart after just a couple of hours of driving. And now, the promised question: how many kilometers could an E100 actually cover on its own before needing a full overhaul? The number will shock you. But first, a second reason, even more deadly. The E100 was supposed to be powered by a Maybach HL230 engine, the same one used in the Panther and the Tiger. But the Panther weighed 45 tons, the E100 weighed 100. That's like forcing a compact car engine to haul a loaded truck. The engineers knew this, so they boosted the engine by increasing the fuel supply, and that's where a new problem appeared: cooling. The radiators couldn't dissipate heat fast enough, and oil temperature reached critical levels within 20 minutes. Add to that the cramped engine compartment and the main gun, a 128mm cannon whose muzzle blast was so powerful it ruptured pipes. During tests of the E100 hull prototype without a turret, the engine caught fire 3 times. Now imagine a complete tank with a turret, ammunition, and 240mm of frontal armor. Speaking of armor, it was supposed to make the E100 invincible. In reality, it turned it into a perfect target. You'll see why in a moment. 240mm on the turret front, 200mm on the hull front. On paper, it looks like a fortress. But let's think clearly. It's 1945. The Allies already have aircraft that can drop bombs straight through open hatches. The Soviets have heavy artillery and shaped charged shells. The E100's thick vertical armor, unlike the sloped armor of the IS-3, offered almost no chance of ricochet. And most importantly, the weight of all that armor made the tank sluggish even on paved roads. The calculated top speed was 23 kilometers per hour, but cross-country it dropped to 8 to 10. Any anti-tank gun, any grenadier could simply outflank this turtle and fire into its side. Side armor of just 120mm. Even a T-34-85 could penetrate that from a kilometer away. Still believe in invincibility? So here's that promised number for the suspension. The estimated service life before a major overhaul was less than 500 kilometers. For comparison, the Soviet IS-2 managed 1,500 to 2,000. And now the cherry on top, the cost. One E100 would have been as expensive as 5 Panthers. The factories that could have built it were bombed. In the end, not a single completed tank, just a bare hull captured by the British. That's the catastrophe they hid behind those beautiful blueprints. The E100 isn't just a dead end in tank design. It's a monument to how ambition and desperation can turn an engineering marvel into a useless pile of metal. If it had gone into production, it would have destroyed not the enemy, but its own crews. In the next video, we'll tear apart why the even crazier mouse turned out to be just as big a failure. Don't miss it, it'll be an equally brutal breakdown.